Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to episode 8 of the Peeps Podcast. Now, I think Cam can reiterate this. I just want to say a massive thank you just for the huge support. It's actually been really picking up recently. You know, all of the comments, you guys leaving absolutely incredible ones. If you do want to comment on anything that we speak about in this one, just make sure to drop it down below. We always do the comments review in every single episode at the start of it.
But no, the comments review was a little bit on the lengthy side. It was like a feature length. It was like what's it called? Not King of the Ring. What's it called? Lord of the Rings. It was like one of those films.
Something like that, yeah.
About 3 hours long.
But yeah, I think without any further ado, we might as well get into the comments review.
Actually, before we do, can I just say one thing?
Go for it.
We'll put my new Twitter down in the comment section below. I've decided to create another new Twitter to add to my other 50 million accounts because quite simply, my original Mr. FIFA Cam Twitter has almost become a Chelsea football Twitter kind of thing. So I'm going to try and get back to a normal kind of YouTube thing. So follow it. We'll put the @ down as the thing. It might be @ Mr. FIFA Cam new and then develop later into @ Mr. FIFA Cam once I've sorted a few things out. So yeah, we'll put it down in the comment description thing down below and you can subscribe, follow it. Fuck. It's going to be one of those podcast votes. Yeah. Summer's here, by the way, guys, if you didn't know.
Right, to start off the comments review, we're going to be going to KWEs, and he commented, or this comment actually comes in from the Sidemen Beef / Is Music Like Getting Worse podcast that we did do. You know, the first thing that I do want to actually bring up is, you know, he cleared up the Canada and the theatres stuff in the start of his comment, which, thank you very much for doing that. I didn't know that they actually have, like, they can go to cheaper cinemas and it costs them, like, $4. If only we could bloody do that.
Well, I think they go to the same cinema, don't they? It's just they put...
It's just, yeah,
cheap
it's lower quality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting, really.
He also one question. I don't want this to come across as rude, but I just wanted to ask how old you actually are. You know, that's just something that I have been pondering because you know you've got a lot of knowledge on like a wide, vast section of topics, and that's just something that I wanted to ask. Hopefully you'll drop it down in your comment if you didn't find that rude or anything. And he also did go on to say in his comment this is going to be fun, Cam, about heavy metal and scream music.
Oh no.
Right, Cam, to start this off, I'm going to be playing you a bit of heavy metal, okay? Then after that, I'm going to play you some scream music, and then we'll do it again, and we'll basically just hear your thoughts and opinions quickly on, you know, which one you think is worse, if you see what I mean.
Oh, Lord Jesus, please help me.
This is One by Metallica. What do you think?
Jesus. Oh my God. Shit, stop the thing. Oh my God.
Okay, so that was the first, and that was heavy metal. Let's now play some scream music.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Right, Cam, now this is Not the American Average by Asking Alexandria. This is supposed to be scream music. Are you ready? Oh my God. Oh my God. You see what I mean when I say they don't use their voice boxes?
That's like Satan has come back.
That's not human, is it? Okay.
Jesus Christ. God is going to be looking down here and saying, what on earth is that?
Okay. Now we're going to
Why did I give that person life?
We're going to go back to heavy metal, and then we'll go to scream music again, and then we'll get your final thoughts. Right, now back to heavy metal. We're going to go with Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Let's see what you think of this.
Sounds like country music. Whoa. I like it.
Just remember, that's supposed to be heavy metal. It just proves that they do different things.
That ain't heavy metal, I'm going to be honest with you.
That's
I'm
not.
Shoot
it's, but
from the hip. That ain't heavy metal.
But it's by a heavy metal band, if you see
I don't give a fuck. That could be by a gospel choir. That is not heavy metal.
Okay, to compare Led Zeppelin, which Cam didn't think was a heavy metal band, let's compare that to Motionless in White, and this is called Reincarnate. Let's see what it's like. Oh my
Jesus Christ. Has he been possessed? That's my serious question here. Are these people possessed?
I'm with you.
How can you
Some
do
of that
that?
stuff is absolutely shit.
How can you make your voice do that?
I don't know. What's your final thoughts though, Cam?
Absolute
Heavy metal compared
dog
to
shit.
scream music.
Well, I mean, scream music is that is on another dimension. You know, that is like, we're living on Earth. They're on Mars. I mean, that is crazy shit.
I mean, for me, I like some of Metallica's songs, Motorhead songs, and Led Zeppelin songs. The scream music that he said in his comment, asking Alexandria, Motionless in White, I've never even heard of. Do I want to listen to their music again? No, thank you.
I think it's the sort of music that, you know, you would have at your funeral, you know, as you're being walked down the aisle.
No, I think it's the music
that
you
can't
have
bring
once
you
you're
back to
entering the
life, I
gates
don't
of
know
hell.
fucking what would.
You're entering the gates of hell whilst that music is playing. In my opinion.
That is hell music.
Definitely. They are possessed, these fuckers. Okay, so the first question of last video's comments from my video comes in from Lewis Plays.
What? Hang on, Lo. You just emphasise the my just to piss me off. And you know it. Lewis Plays is my subscriber.
Is he subscribed to me, do you reckon?
Yes, he most probably is, and now he probably likes your videos more than mine, okay? This is
No, it's only because mine was uploaded on time.
Oh, right. Well, I fucked up, didn't I? Can we just get on with the comment?
He basically just said he actually learnt a lot from that bloody video.
I'm surprised.
And it was me leading it, Cam. What is happening?
Yeah, actually, that's something not right with that. No, something not right with that. No, but you were making some good points, to be fair.
But thank you very much for the comment on that one, and thank you very much for coming over to the better channel. It really means a lot.
How many subscribers you got, Lo?
I can't remember. They keep going down. They keep going down. What was that laugh?
I was trying to do an impression of Sam and it didn't work. Let's just move on because this is just take the piss out of Cameron Day, isn't it?
Yes. Next we go into Harry Gallo's comment. Once again, always commenting on the podcast, showing a lot of support. His comment, basically, there's a couple of questions in here. He says, for me being a Man United fan, and we'll add you in as well, Cam, being a Chelsea fan, what do we think about Jurgen Klopp? And then he put his passion. But you could say the same about, you know, Conte. Conte shows a lot of passion.
He shows more than Klopp.
But passion doesn't win you trophies.
Well, Conte wins you trophies.
Exactly.
Because he's the best manager in the world.
Okay, excluding everything, what do I think of Jurgen Klopp? I think he's got a lot of potential. He's making some big moves in the transfer window in these last couple of days. Apparently getting rid of Coutinho for 140 million or whatever it was. Lamar coming in. Blooming Keita coming in next year. You know, he's making big moves, and I think that he's taking Liverpool in the right direction, to be honest.
Yeah, I disagree.
Oh, okay.
I just think he's a yellow tea fraud, I really do. I just don't rate him as a manager. He doesn't... How long has he been at Liverpool, right? He still hasn't sorted out their defence. What sort of... You can't call him a world-class manager when they have the defence that quite simply is championship level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When he joined Liverpool, the problem was the defence. And he hasn't improved the defence. I don't give a flying fuck how many... And at the end of the day, are Liverpool better than they are under Brendan Rodgers when Rodgers nearly won the title? No, they're not. They aren't going to win the Premier League this year. No fucking way. I know they are making some good signings, but he needs to sort out his defence. He's another one of these managers, I think, like a lot of them, that are very set in their ways. And I don't understand whether it's Klopp, whether it's the club, why their main priority this summer was not defenders.
Well, they're getting in Van Dijk apparently for a
if he
ridiculous
comes in,
fleet.
you know, and that'll be great. But I still don't think it solves their problem. They're still, you know, I'm still not convinced about Robertson. I know he had a decent debut. Their right back, Klein's not particularly good.
Did they bring in a right back or any full-backs apart from Robertson? Because I thought that was a position that they definitely needed to improve on.
Yeah, and the goalkeeper's shit as well.
I mean, Karius does do some odd things sometimes, trying to mug people off. Yeah. You know, he does it a couple times, doesn't he? He waits for the attacker to come in and then just tries to fool them. I mean, it works most of the time.
I'm not a lover of Klopp, but I think Klopp's the sort of manager, if he was at your club, you'd love him.
Yeah, I think that sort of comes with it. If you should sort of love your manager, but I just don't. He says in the comment, you said you think Mourinho is a twat, and I think people would like him a lot more if he just smiled more.
Yeah,
which I think. On the other hand, I've been thinking about it a lot in the last couple of days. He's not getting ahead of himself, if you see what I mean, because there's me going on about it. I'm not getting too excited because we did exactly the same last season. We won 3 games back to back. We were top of the league at the end of it when the international break came in, and we finished 6th. He knows what happens, So I think me and him are on the same wavelength.
You and Mourinho on the same wavelength.
We don't get ahead of ourselves. For example, Liam, my brother, thinks we're going to win the Champions League. Well, no, he doesn't think we're going to win the Champions League, but...
I bet he does. I bet deep down in his heart he thinks you're going to win the Champions League.
I don't think...
My personal... It's a bit like with me with England. I always think you're going to win the World Cup.
Oh, whenever the World Cup will come around next year, everybody for the last 4 years, or however long the break is between each World Cup, have been... being like, yeah, we're going to win the World Cup and we'll get knocked out in the group stage.
Because I know it's shit. Yeah. And with Chelsea, I'm so pessimistic. I don't understand why with England, I just get this kind of patriotic feeling like we are seriously going to win the World Cup. We're not.
No.
It's never going to happen. Ever.
In your lifetime? What, hand on heart, you think in your lifetime, let's say we live, I don't know, let's go for 90 years, 2090, do you reckon we would have won the World Cup?
No. There's more chance of
Neither
China
do I,
winning the World Cup.
Yeah, neither do I.
Tell you what, there's more chance of North Korea being wiped out, Korea coming together, and Korea winning the World Cup than there is us winning the World Cup. That's the truth.
Okay, now we're going to be going on to SP Danker's comment, and he says that
whose subscriber is he?
I think he might be yours.
Wow, why?
He commented in your video as well, didn't he?
No.
No?
No, I'm only joking. I don't care. I know it's because Lyle put it up before, and if he hadn't, then you'd all be commenting on mine because I'm better, quite simply.
Okay. Well, basically, he said that he didn't research the moon landing, but he said this video has intrigued him, and he wants to. He wanted to learn a little bit more about it. I don't know, why are we intriguing people to research stuff, Cam? I will never know. Are we actually speaking some sense half the time?
Well, I think I might be.
Okay.
Yeah.
He also says that he's 90% sure it was faked. He's going on about the moon landing. He's 90% sure that it was faked. And he actually says at the end of it, it's a great podcast, and it's the first one that he's watched, and he hopes to watch many more. Keep up the fantastic work. Which I think it's, as a couple of weeks ago, we thought this podcast was going nowhere, and now we're actually getting some new people in watching it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great news.
We now go on
to... Came across a bit patronising, I didn't mean it like that.
We now go on to Callum Brooks, my cousin. He says Wagwan as one of them. And then he just says, enjoyable as usual. Don't know how I listen to you retards chatting shit for an hour, but enjoyable nevertheless.
He is the biggest retard I know. I just say it now. So if he's listening, I'm saying it to you right now. I can remember that stream you did, Lyle.
Yeah.
That was such a fun podcast. Stream. I just loved it.
You two getting onto each other throughout all of it, man.
It was just brilliant. I like your cousin. I think he's a decent guy. He's a funny guy.
Nevertheless, we now go on to Tom, or TA's comment, and he says he'd love to come on a podcast. So I did reply to his comment, but I don't know if he's seen it. Just drop us, either of us, a DM on Twitter, mate, and or just tweet at us, and then I will drop you a DM back, if you see what I mean. Because, we are more than happy to have podcast, because I think me and you just chat some absolutely retarded stuff sometimes, and if a third person's there, he might sort us out a bit.
Yeah, we like to have a special guest on, every now and again. Yeah, we haven't had one yet, have we?
Maybe if we have one for a special 10th episode.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe before. Who knows? Let us know if you want to be involved in the podcast. On to my comment, but it's a great one from Chris Parker, who. Liked the video, the previous podcast, because I just stalked his channel, so I appreciate that.
For God's sake.
He put a lot of great information actually, and he said how he doesn't think the moon landing was fake, and he sort of put in some, how we were saying why we think it was fake. Perhaps he sort of put some thoughts and reasons as to why maybe it isn't fake. And he also posed one very good question that I want to ask, saying, "Oh fuck, sorry, I think I just broke a foot." I really do hope the moon landing is real. I feel like we spoke about this before, perhaps on another podcast, but it is. You don't want it to be. I mean, do you want it to be fake or do you want it to be real? Do you know what I mean? Is it a nice thing? It's a nice thing in it. It would be kind of sad, if it didn't happen and if it wasn't true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think they've got like a... I was going to say, so this is going to sound absolutely retarded, but do you think secretly they've got... This just literally came to my head. Do you think secretly the US have got like an agreement with other governments not to go to the moon? Because they'll like inevitably see that they didn't do it? Or is that a stupid thing to say?
No, I personally think if it was faked, then they would have somehow put a flag up there by now. These... Okay, so humans haven't gone back on the moon since, or maybe they never have, but other things have been on the moon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could easily put a flag in. He made another good point as well that has just literally slipped out of my mind the first time it's happened in this podcast. Right, so I've remembered me point. Lala's thankfully cut it out, so I don't look like a complete retard. My point was, or his point, sorry, that I want to pick up on was that if it was faked, it would have had to have been, quote, a pretty big stage fake. That is exactly what he said, but it's kind of what he said. Basically, what he's saying is, if it was fake, it would have to be like the biggest fake in the whole world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do agree with him. Don't get me wrong. If the moon landing's fake, of course it's going to be huge. He brought up some good things. There's proof that the Apollo 11, or whatever the fuck it is, actually did take off. There is proof of that. It's a difficult one.
There's also, I was going to say, there's also obviously proof of it, the module actually landing in the sea again.
He also put about 9/11, posed a couple of questions. Why didn't they shoot down the planes? Gave his kind of thoughts on 9/11, in which I think a lot of what he said to me made quite a lot of sense. You'll have to give it a read, Lyle, if you haven't already.
Yeah, I've read it, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of what he said on that do make sense. He lastly put, "Please don't slate me if you don't agree with me. It's just my opinion. I don't have any issues with what you said during the video." Of course, we wouldn't slate you. We appreciate other people's opinions. We don't really care.
Unless it's like that bloke on the terrorist one, which is absolutely stupid.
Yeah, well, that was necessary. But if you think the moon landing's real, great. If you think it's fake, great. You know what I mean? And you backed up your points. I enjoy reading your comment. We never have a problem with that. So if you've got opposing opinions,
we're never going to slate anybody for having a good, like a decent opinion without actually having a deluded mind about the terrorist stuff.
Yeah. It's a good point, Lyle. Very good point. I did get another. He did comment on my. Stephen did comment on my thing. I apologise. He said, based on your recent views, your channel is far from dead. And I did read this. That's funny, actually. I remember that. I was thinking, where's that comment? Based on your recent views, your channel is far from dead. And the best thing is your most viewed videos are the ones you would have the most passion for. Just watch your Tottenham versus Chelsea one. You were so happy. I was a little bit over the top on that video, I will admit. And that has 600 views. Your channel is on the way up and you're enjoying the videos you make. By the way, I love the podcast with you and Lyle. Keep it up. So I appreciate your comment. And, I did wake up the other day, yesterday, quite literally yesterday. And I just felt a bit, I felt really optimistic, really excited about FIFA 18. Really excited about Chelsea career mode. I don't know why I'm like, it's like some massive secret. Bloody hell. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm looking forward to doing FIFA videos again and the football videos. And you're right, I'm enjoying these podcasts. I'm enjoying the interaction. I'm enjoying enjoying doing the Chelsea reviews and stuff, and reading your comments. I am enjoying stuff at the moment, and I have been looking at Social Play to try to get partnered with him now. Finally, I've fucking sorted that shit out. And I am growing subscribers again, Lyle. It is a miracle.
Oh, no.
So that is, it is brilliant though, because for so long I haven't been, and now we're finally slowly going up. It is slow, but the fact that I'm moving up is good. Appreciate the comment, and that is it for the comments review. I don't know how long it has been this one, but I mean we did have a kind of segment in it this time, so I suppose it's not been ridiculous.
Okay, so now we're going to be going on to the main topic of the video, and it's going to be based around jobs and wages and stuff like that. We're going to be talking about football and football players and how much they earn and pretty much the price of footballers, the price that clubs have to pay for footballers. Now, I want to start it off by literally Neymar, record transfer this transfer window, transferred to from Barcelona to PSG for 200 million. For start off, but for a world-class player, Mum always says that they're absolutely obscene. The money that gets thrown around in football is absolutely, it's absolutely crazy, the amount of money that gets thrown around now. And once he did sign, a lot of stuff was going around on Twitter. I will try my hardest to get, they were saying how much he earns a minute, an hour, a day, and a week. How much is he on? Maybe like 400,000 a week?
Yeah.
For a start, that's absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. Basically, what does he do in a week? He plays maybe once or twice in a week. He has to train in the morning. He maybe has to do some brand deals in between there. He has to keep his fitness up and stuff like that. But do you think, Cam, that football players have a lot of time off?
No.
No. So therefore, is 400 grand warrant for you to be earning in a week?
Look, what I think you've got to remember is, look, they do earn a lot of money. We can't go over that. But they are elite professional athletes. These are some of the most talented people in the world. And people do just think footballers have it easy, and they don't. Now, on the sort of money they are, they need to be given 100% on the training pitch and on the pitch in the game time. And that's why people get pissed off when they don't try, because they're on this ridiculous money. Now, I think the money is, ridiculous. But it is a case of like anything, and your brother said it before, when he came in a minute ago, in the middle of the podcast. Obviously not, you guys probably won't hear it, but he did sound, I agree with him. This has always been my opinion. For example, if PSG are willing to pay Barcelona 200 million for Neymar, then he is worth 200 million. It's like anything. Something is only worth what somebody else will pay for it, right? And if PSG are willing to pay 200 million, whether you and me think it's absurd or not is completely and utterly irrelevant.
Yeah.
They are willing to pay that. Do you know what I mean? There's so much money in football now. If there wasn't so much money in football, you could understand. But these clubs are making so much money. Of course they're going to be spending money. Of course the players are going to be out. The industry of football is such a massive industry money-wise. Do I think they earn a ridiculous amount of money? Yes. Do I think the transfer fees are ridiculous? Yes. But at the same time, it is what it is, isn't it? If clubs are willing to pay players, that, then it is what it is. And if clubs are willing to pay other clubs for players ridiculous fees like 200 million, then they are simply worth that at the end of the day, because it's what a club is willing to pay. I'm not saying it ain't absurd, and I'm not saying that people that serve in the military, and we'll get onto that in a minute, and firefighters and stuff like that, their job, they do an incredible job, and they should earn more money. But I'm one of these people that doesn't really always understand this whole, football players earn this amount of money. Surely fire people are more important. They save people's lives. These people, I'm not degrading what they do, because what firefighters and stuff like that do are incredible.
Okay, so if Morata costs 65 million for Chelsea and Lukaku costs 90, you're not going to get those players if they're valued at that, so your club has to play that, and surely you'd want your club to get those players in, otherwise they wouldn't get anybody in anyway.
But at the end of the day, if clubs aren't willing to pay, a price for a play, the price comes down. Look at Ross Barkley now, for example. I only think that because Chelsea just put a bid in for him. They started off, Everton said, we want 50 million. Nobody's willing to pay it. His price gets dropped. Now Chelsea are offering 25. I don't necessarily think they'll accept that, but I can see him going for 30. Do you know what I mean? So they have to bring the price down if you want to sell a guy. And that's how it works. So until clubs go, no, we're not paying 200 million for a player. No, we're not paying 150 million for a player. The prices are going to stay the same. And when you've got super clubs like PSG and this and that, who are willing to pay, like you say, the clubs have got to. If they want to be able to compete, and if they want to be able to, then they've got to. And clubs are making so much money now. The TV money, winning fees for stuff, and not even just winning it, but, so much money in the game now. Sponsorships, some of the night deals and stuff, ridiculous money. Absolutely ridiculous money. It's such a ridiculous amount of money in football, but I don't think you can just blame, wages and say, well, they're ridiculous. You've got to say the whole thing is ridiculous,
There's also, as you say, I think there's ridiculous money in sport, because just recently Mayweather versus McGregor, how much money did they earn? just from having one boxing fight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they earn absolutely ridiculous sums. Is it that they... Well, you don't see, you know, ridiculous fees going around for rugby and cricket, do you? I'm not sure. Do you see ridiculous stuff going around?
I think there was a £1 million player in the Indian Premier League, which was Ben Stokes the other year, but that was like the biggest ever, I think. I could be wrong there, so don't quote me.
You know, maybe they sort of haven't. That's maybe. I was going to say that's maybe what it should be, but no. When you see, you know, I'm not sure if I'm being, you know, biased or anything, but is there more support for football than rugby and cricket?
Well, obviously, football's a bigger sport, isn't it?
Football's like the biggest
sport worldwide, I think.
Yeah. So surely there's got to be a lot more money to go in with it.
It's a case of there's more money in it. It's simple logic, isn't it? It's simple economics. There's more money in football than there is other sports. You know, you know, if rugby was as big as football, and if the money was there the same as it is in football, that players would be going for that sort of... It's just how it works at the end of the day. I think a lot of fans of other sports are bitter of football because of the amount of money there, and I understand it. The thing I don't understand, still related to football, is these clubs earning all the money they do. Why on earth are ticket prices so ridiculous?
Oh, God.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're earning so much money, they don't need to rip off their fans. Football is nothing without the fans. I know that is a cliche, but it's true. Fans go, football dies. It's as simple as that. Used to be, back before me and you were born, Lar, you know, people could go and watch a football match. Now, you have to take out a mortgage almost to go watch a football match. You know, and you can't get the tickets. They sell out so quickly because they go to these foreign companies that bot and buy 100 and sell at a ridiculous price. You know, to go and watch Chelsea, because I was considering it, win the Premier League last year against West Brom away, tickets were going for about £1,000.
That's just ridiculous.
£1,000. You know, and yes, it's an incredible moment. And yes, it would have been the greatest day of my life. But it's a ridiculous price. You know, where do they... Admittedly, that wasn't the club, it's important to say. That was people buying them and then reselling them on. But, you know, season tickets, ridiculous price, £1,000 for a season ticket.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I love going to see, you know, just for example, you know, Norwich, you jump on this train, you go see Norwich's pre-season, you pay £1, you know, this is for, I went to see Hanover last year, it cost me £1, and then I also went to see an under-23 game, and it was free.
Yeah.
But I see, you know, Norwich are a championship side, Manchester United, or big names in the Premier League.
Norwich's championship games, average ticket price about £30 for an adult.
Now, that is acceptable in my opinion. Definitely.
I don't think it's an acceptable price for a championship side. No way.
What would you be willing to pay?
No, I'm willing. It's not a case of willing to pay it, because if you want to go watch a match, you're going to have to pay what it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, £15? I don't understand why these prices... They get so much money from everywhere else. It's just ripping off the fans, quite simply. You know, Huddersfield season ticket is ridiculously cheap. I think, don't quote me again on this, but it's either £100 or £150. They've kept it the same because they froze ticket prices. So the Huddersfield fans this year in the Premier League get to see 19 games, sorry, I can't count, 19 games in the Premier League for just over £100.
That is incredible.
That is incredible. And Barcelona season tickets, do you know how much they are?
£2,000.
£200.
Fuck.
Yeah. It seems to be this country is just a joke.
What?
With season ticket prices.
And then for one of the big teams in the Premier League, what are you looking at? 1,500, £2,000? More than that in some cases.
It ain't just the ticket prices. You know, with where I live, when I hopefully eventually get a Chelsea season ticket, the season ticket, I might be able to get a season ticket for £800. You know, 'cause I want a reasonable seat. The train's probably going to cost me, over the course of a season, £800. Food, because, you know, going from Norwich to London, I'm going to have to eat something, otherwise I'll fucking collapse. If you eat something in London, it's going to be a tenner. A tenner for a sausage roll, for God's sake. You know what I mean? That's another, over a course of a season, that's another £200-300. If I get a programme, that's another 200. You know, how can people do it? Then if you travel away tickets should be really low. I think there's a cap on them. I might be wrong. But away tickets should be a steady thing, and it could be, so I could be wrong here, but a steady, you know, I don't know, 10, 15 quid. You know, because you've got to get there, you've got to get up at a ridiculous time. You know, fans make football, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the moment, fans are the ones being penalised. You know, and you can't tell me a club like Chelsea, a club like Man United, and it's all the big clubs. You know, it's all the clubs. You can't tell me when they earn hundreds of millions from the TV deal that they seriously need the revenue of their fans. Shirts. How on earth can clubs justify £80 for a goddamn shirt?
It's stupid.
Without even a name on it. You put a name on it, you're looking over £100.
You put badges on it, yeah. Badges, name, £100.
Where? How? I don't get it.
That's why there's such a big thing for, at least in my family. I don't know whether there's a big thing, if anybody watching, that's why I tried to nab one off of eBay. The last season I got a Pogba one, I got it for £30 before the season started. I was fairly smitten that it was bloody real. Of course it weren't. The Pogba thing come off the back, the Chevrolet thing was coming off. It was fake, but it lasted me the season, if you see what I mean.
And it looked real.
And it looked real. That's probably surely loads of people buy that because you can't.
A lot of people do buy fake shirts. Yeah.
You can't ask your parents seriously to pay £100, whether it be your birthday or Christmas, and to pay £100 for a shirt.
I mean, to be fair, other clubs are. I think Norwich's shirts are about 50, 60 quid. That's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
That is. You think that's a day's work for. It's probably 2-3 days' work for people our age, to buy a Chelsea shirt.
If I go to work on my Sunday job at the garden centre, I earn £27.
There we go, 3 days' work and you got yourself a Chelsea shirt.
And then if I go to work with the builder that I work with sometimes, that's £50. So it's still 2 days' work.
Yeah, it's just a ridiculous amount of money.
Which to us, it's a lot of money to kiss goodbye just off of one thing.
It is for anyone. I don't care what anyone says. It's for anyone. I always get a Chelsea shirt. I do because I just have to. But I think I got 2-3 last year. I don't know. I do go a bit over the top, but it is just I do hate buying it. But it's even like FIFA. That bloody edition, £90.
I know, it's getting ridiculous.
How can they justify that? And about the only thing that you get extra, a few extra goddamn packs. Let's be honest, you're not going to get anything in anyway. And bloody fat Ronaldo, for 3 games. And there's no way that it might disconnect for all those 3 games, like I said to you earlier.
Imagine going to your dad, right? You're however old I was, 10, for example, when I was playing FIFA. Xbox or PlayStation 2, it would cost maybe, was it like £30 for the game? And now you go to him now and you want him to fork out 90 for a game. It's incredible. Swaying slightly off.
I feel
FIFA.
Sorry for parents of kids that have, kids of about 10, 11.
Oh, I know.
They must put them in an awful position, because they almost have to, it wasn't as bad when we were younger. You could get a game for about £30.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we're at the age where we have to buy it all our goddamn self anyway. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but, it's just horrific.
Going off of that, going back to the football, do you think there needs to be, like, a cap on season tickets for each club in the Premier League? As well as maybe the shirts as well?
I just think, I don't like when other, that corporations and stuff not corporations, but like, organisation, government and that gets involved with shit. I don't like that. But they just need to be a bit more, they just need to be reasonable. The clubs themselves need to be reasonable and say, well, we don't need to be charging this ridiculous.
We don't need the money.
Yeah, we don't need to be charging. These are our goddamn fans. They give up their day. They, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to support the team. Half the time we play like shit anyway, and we're charging them a ridiculous amount of money. It's like those poor Arsenal fans who went to the Liverpool game. Side got absolutely trampled on. You think about how much it cost them to get down there. Some of them had to get up at 6 o'clock. Some of them didn't sleep because they watched the McGregor fight. You got to get food, all for that. They should be refunding those fans. It's a disgraceful performance.
Like, at least...
Go on.
At least if you say me and you decide to go to WrestleMania, at least we're gonna have to, as you say, get up early in the morning, go get a plane to wherever it's going to be happening, go get a flight to wherever it's going to be happening in the US, get to their hotel, whatever. It's going to cost a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but at least you're going to be in for something good. And obviously, it's completely different because obviously, WWE's all scripted. They know what's going to happen. Football is completely different, but there's sort of a similarity there. And in that sense, that's got to be expensive.
But at the same time, if you went to a WrestleMania and they put on absolute dog shit matches, all of them, absolute crap matches, I would expect a goddamn refund. I mean, it wouldn't ever happen like it does in football. But,
doesn't it happen sometimes, though? If the team plays, like, absolute fucking shit. I've heard a couple of times, I might be just talking rubbish,
sometimes
that they refund the fans.
It's usually lower league teams, not bigger teams.
But that's in the case. The lower league teams, would you say the lower league teams need to charge a little? I don't know what a lower league teams charge. But
it's all different, innit? I mean, some charge.
Maybe that helps them. Maybe that helps them to, get the beverages and stuff like that. I don't know, because Man United and the big clubs are not going to need that. The lower leagues might need the ticket money to go somewhere.
Yeah, but you don't. That's not how you generate money. You don't generate money from your fans. That's not how it should be. You should be generating money from how you play on the pitch and building the brand, building the club, not ripping off your fans. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, to go to a football match, to go watch Chelsea play, you should have to pay. It shouldn't just be free fucking entry. I'm not saying that, but it needs to be reasonable. You don't need to rip off your fans, quite simply.
If they want to come and watch a game, they should be able to, and it shouldn't be like...
It shouldn't get to the point where they struggle to put fucking food on the table.
Yeah.
And, it's a rich man's game now. Normal people can't go and watch football.
I wonder how much it is to sit in, like, the little director's boxes that they've got. Is that the right thing? Like, where...
You can have a VIP ticket at Chelsea, I think, where you can have a meal and that before. I think it's like £500, £600, £700.
What, a game?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Great view.
I think it's absolutely
fantastic
incredible.
Food, to be fair. But not that I've ever done it, but I've heard people who have, and they said fantastic food, great seat. Yeah, is it worth £700? That's a nice family holiday. Yeah, maybe not to fucking anywhere that flash, but maybe it's a nice little Butlins holiday.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me.
I think didn't you said Barcelona's their season tickets capped at 200. I think that's absolutely incredible. I think more big clubs need to take suit off of Barcelona, because Barcelona have some of the best players in the world in their club.
I think Bayern Munich's are cheap as well.
Exactly. Why don't I go to Germany and Spain and see these play? It's just something. One thing that I was going to, speaking of Germany, is there some sort of inside thing that I haven't heard of? How Dortmund always sell their players to Bayern Munich. It's only now Dembele's gone to Barcelona. That's like the first Dortmund player in a while that I've seen go anywhere other than Bayern Munich, apart from maybe Shinji Kagawa. Is there something have they got a little deal? Because why do they all go to rivals? Same thing with Mbappe maybe going to PSG.
Because they are one league, one club leagues, really, if you know what I mean. Bayern Munich are the big club.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
PSG
if
the big
Borussia
club.
Dortmund won the Bundesliga, it would be the equivalent, for example, of like a Leicester winning the Premier League. It's that much of a shock. Yeah. Whereas in this country, you have 6-7 teams.
And that's why you don't get people transferring often.
Because obviously, if you play in the Bundesliga, you're German, you want to stay in the Bundesliga, right? And you play for Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
You want to go to the best team. Now, the best team is Bayern Munich. Whereas in England, if you're playing for a Southampton, you've got options. You've got Tottenham, you've got Chelsea, you've got Liverpool, you've got Man City, you've got Man United, you've got Everton. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Arsenal. You have got options, whereas in other countries you haven't.
I see, yeah.
That's how I look at it that way. I don't think there's any sort of like fucking agreement. That would just be crazy. And at the end of the day, that's another thing. Dortmund don't have to sell to Bayern Munich. Yeah, you've got unhappy players. It comes to the whole thing. Do you want unhappy players at your club?
No.
You have to make a decision. No, we're not selling to Dortmund. No, we're not selling to Bayern. If you want to go to another top club in Europe, fine. But we are not selling to Bayern Munich.
That's what Spain have done, do you think, with Madrid and Barcelona?
Madrid and Barcelona never sell players to each other.
Yeah.
Well, very, very rarely. They have done it a couple of times. But very, very rare.
Okay, going off of the football, we're now going to be going on to basically other people's jobs, primarily looking at, the public services for people, maybe being the police, fire department, stuff like that, and how they put their bodies on the line, and soldiers and the army and stuff like that. They put their bodies on the line for their countries, and do we basically think they need to be paid more? Because, they do a lot for the countries, and as I say, some of them are killed out there. do they? I don't know how much they get paid. I'm not going to be honest with you, but I have heard that they don't get paid. A lot of people are always on about they need to be upped, you know, because for example, I was there's some people who pretty much the women, that's a bit stereotypical, but the people that take the phone calls for the 999 calls, and I can't remember what program I was watching, but he was basically just interviewing a load of people that take the phone calls for the 999 calls. These are people that aren't exactly, you know, on show for the public services, but they still play a key role because they obviously get the ambulances out to people. And she was saying that they basically get phone calls of people who are like, you know, it's serious, but they've got such a shortage on ambulances. You know, they can't send stuff out to them. They can't send an ambulance out to them. And, you know, and then the people are sitting on the other end of the phone crying and all this whatnot. And, you know, they also get people ringing up who are on the brink of killing themselves. Apparently this happens quite a lot. They'll ring up 999 thinking, because they've obviously got really dark thoughts going through their heads, and talking to them about basically killing themselves.
Yeah,
and one woman.
People shouldn't be ringing 999 for that. There is no other
I was
numbers,
going to say,
but in that sort of moment, I suppose people aren't thinking logically.
And then, because they have to go, you know, they go through this every single day, all of these distressing stuff, taking these people's calls, you know, and then they just some woman said that she just goes home and gets in the shower and just cries, because of just everything building up of what she's having to deal with, you know. And I think it's probably the same as well for, you know, if you're like in a car accident with like a loved one or something and they lay next to you unconscious or whatever, and then you get them ring up, you know, I honestly don't know what I could do. You know, they've got to be so strong to be able to deal with stuff like that.
It's
you know,
I'd sit
on the I don't know, I'd sit on the other end and honestly not know what to do. And as you say, she one of them goes home and literally just gets in the shower and cries because it builds up so much. Maybe, and as well for the firefighters and the policemen. The firefighters and the policemen that saw what they did at Grenfell, just for example, you know, they're going to come up with some bloody... They would have seen some rum stuff, mental health issues they're going to be having.
Oh, yeah, and they'll never forget, you know, what they saw.
Same thing with the army. They'll never forget it. I'm not really sure where I'm going, but, you know, they go through so much. I don't know, is it right to say that they should be paid more? I'm not really sure how to base that question, because I could literally go on about all day about, you know, what they see and how much they help me. Because one day, you know, I could be in a car accident or something or need the emergency service, and, you know, because you never know what you need until you don't have it.
I always say police get a lot of criticism and stick from our age group. But with the police, it's the same with the legal system. With the police, you hate the police, right? You hate them when you've committed a crime. You love them when your house has just been burgled. People are very, very fickle. They'll diss the police, they'll call them this, they'll call them pigs, they'll call them that. But you want to bet their house is burgled, something awful's happened to them, something awful's happened to their family. The people they're going to be calling are the police. And the police don't come to your house and go, well, I saw that tweet you made that calling us pigs and saying that you hate us and this and that and that we're a fucking waste of space. Sorry, your house is being burgled, we don't give a shit. They don't do that. They come and they still do their job and they're still professional. So I think people got to give that a thought. I think people do, especially our age group. You know, I understand there are some police officers, very a small minority. There are bad eggs, ones that think, oh, I've got the uniform on, I'm somehow, you know, bigger and better than you. But the majority, and I know policemen personally, and the nicest bit, they are normal human beings. Normal human beings doing a service that without, what on earth would we do? Do you know what I mean? I'll go through, because you said don't know what the salary is when you were talking before. I did get it up. Average police salary for a police constable in England is anywhere between 19 grand to 22 grand a year, rising to 37 grand, depending on you know, how big of a policeman you are, and how long you are, and how good at it you are. Scotland's a little bit higher, 23 grand, rising to 36 grand. So essentially, what you're looking at on average, you would probably say, is about 24 grand. I would say about 24, 25 grand a year for a policeman, you know. And they get tyrant abuse, you know, the stuff they have to... And the thing that really pisses me off is police officers, they protect us and we don't protect them. And what I mean by that is these people are not armed.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching a program the other day, right? And this guy there was this policeman who was chasing this guy. In his pocket, he had a 4-inch knife, right? The policeman had nothing apart from pepper spray. You know, it is just crazy to me that our police officers who protect us, we don't protect them. I can't understand it. And I'll tell you one thing. All these teens that chat shit to police officers, right, when they, you know, are talking shit and talking this and that to them, and when they basically come and say, you know, you are doing something wrong, stop doing that. You know, they chat all this shit, they get all big with them. You're trying to tell me if police officers were armed, that they'd be chatting shit? I don't think so. In America, right, if you get pulled over for speeding, you get out the car, you put your hands wherever the hell the police officers tell you to. Hell, they tell you to put them in your pants, you put them in the pants. Because you know, you don't do it, they may shoot you. And the majority of people listening in the US, the majority of people do what the police say, because they know, oh, I'm going to get shot if I don't. Do you know what I mean? There's a lack of respect for the police. Because
in England,
the police
think what they're going to do.
The police don't have particularly a lot of authority, and then God forbid the police, you know, once or twice do get aggressive with somebody who 9 times out of 10 is being a complete dick. They wrestle them to the ground, they do whatever. There's bloody uproar. Oh, look at that police brutality, him being violent to that kid. You forget the fact that, you know, the kid's just called him all names under the sun, has been pushing and shoving him around for the past 15 minutes. But, the police officer did what he's legally allowed to do, and it's a massive big deal. I find it pathetic, really. But Lara, do you think 24 grand's enough money? Sorry, you were about to ask a question.
I just once again, I thought of another question. No, it might be stupid as all fuck, but I was just thinking of a comparison. People see a little clip of a police officer tackling whoever to the ground, and then this might, as I say, laugh if you want to laugh, you know, say I'm a retard if you want to say I'm a retard. But then they see somebody in football push the ref or something, they get a red card, then they're in an uproar. There might be but can you see the similarity of where I'm coming from? Why do they, you know, the police are there to protect us, and then as soon as something so minor happens, everybody's in uproar?
Yeah.
If you see what I mean at all?
It's the
It
same.
might be another stupid comparison, but...
No, I do see what you're saying. What you're basically saying is the referees, when something happens to the referees, we're shocked and appalled. But when something happens to the police, we're not particularly shocked and appalled, maybe. And if they, God forbid, they react, it's a disaster. I see what you're saying. You know, in America, though, it's a lot of the case. You see it with, and they try to push this identity politics in the US when you get these shootings of these, sometimes black people, and they love doing it black people because it, you know, stirs up racial tensions. It's great. It's great for the liberals. That's what they want. Identity politics. Awful, horrific, cancerous, a disaster. But anyway, they do these things and they edit these videos of these police officers shooting these black people. When you go and look at the stories, 9 times out of 10, you know, the person was running towards the police. They had no choice.
It's justified.
But they edit it in the way to manipulate people. I'm not saying that in the US there isn't a problem with police brutality. I'm not saying that it is fantastically thing. But a lot of the time, a lot of these stories come out and they are so manipulated. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm not saying there's never been a police officer who was shot at somebody unarmed, who he should never have shot at, who was doing everything. So I'm not saying that hadn't happened. It has. I know it's happened. But what I'm saying is they do like to manipulate in the US, and it's awful because, as I say, it stirs up racial tensions. It all because and all unnecessary. All unnecessary.
They do love a good stir up.
Yeah, but you know, in this country as well, you know, police officers are very fearful now of chasing cars and motorbikes just in case, you know, they end up causing a massive collision, you know, and then if they do, and the police are chasing, like I think the police were chasing a teen on a motorbike, he fell off the bike, police didn't hit him or anything, He fell off the bike, he died, and there was absolute uproar at the police for chasing him, pursuing him. He was committing a crime. He was speeding. He didn't pull over when they wanted to. The poor guy lost his life, and of course I felt horrific that he lost his life. And, horrific for the family. But they
were just following a standard procedure.
You need to stop if the police are following you and have the fucking lights on. That's how you avoid that situation. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It really is. Firefighters, average salary is 22 grand, rises to 29 grand when full competence is achieved. Higher rates apply for overtime. Crew manager salaries range from 31 development to 32 grand full competence.
Still,
again, so it is very low.
It is.
When they go into fires, and ridiculously low. But
then you'll always get the people going back to football being like, police risk their life, get 24 grand a year, or 25 I think is what you said. Firefighters risk their life, get 31 to 32 grand a year at the most, that is being a manager. And footballers, that's not a fair comparison.
No, I don't think it's a fair comparison. And realistically, you can't give firefighters 100 grand a day. You can't a week. You can't do it. It just doesn't make any sense. It's never going to happen. Yes, they should earn more. Doctors are paid between 74 grand. This is hospital consultants a year to 100 grand.
74 to 100 was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously with doctors and stuff like that, it's impossible really, because different surgeons earn different money. Brain surgeons earn different to say I don't know, another fucking surgeon that does something different. So it's very difficult really to kind of say, it's not as easy as police, because you're a police. I know you can be a different police officer, but it's kind of similar sort of range. Whereas
because they're all public services. Because they're all public services, does it mean that I don't know, does it mean they all get paid by the government?
Well, the NHS and that obviously does, yeah, because it's owned by the government.
So, yeah. That's why they can't be paid an obscene amount.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Do you think? Because,
obviously,
you have to get...
you can't create money. Well, you can print money, but that doesn't work. Anybody knows economics knows that. So these police officers, firefighters and that, doctors and stuff, they can only be paid what they can be paid. Now, people would say, well, politicians earn too much, and again, I don't necessarily disagree. Politicians earn too much, yeah. Should a politician earn more than a firefighter? I don't know. These are questions that, is there a right and wrong answer? I don't really know. You can make an argument, I suppose, for both. I mean, is it right for a firefighter if we're saying earns on average 22 grand, and let me just put what a politician earns in the UK on average, just do a comparison and see whether we think it's right. If I actually spelt politicians right, which would be helpful, because obviously they get paid in expenses. MP's basic salary for an MP was increased from 67 grand to 74 grand. So a year, 74 grand for an MP. A firefighter earns 22 grand. Is that right?
I don't know. God, I'd like to say no, because
I don't think it is, really,
as you say, that they're doing a service.
But then again, obviously MPs are doing, they're representing.
They're doing a service, but in a different way.
There is no real right answer. What I think a lot of people get unhappy about is how MP salaries seem to be going up. Maybe salaries for other things and other public services don't seem to be moving. I think that's where people get a little bit pissed off. And I think, obviously, some people, firefighters, and rightfully probably so, do feel like when the MPs are sitting in the House of Commons shouting at each other for PMQs, and I know I love it, but, and they're earning 70 grand, and there I am saving a family from basically burning alive, and I'm earning 22 grand. So yeah, it is. It's difficult.
Going off of the figures that you've said, the amount of money that they earn, you've got to absolutely love what you do. You've got to be passionate in the work that you do.
Oh, I think you do with those sort of jobs, yeah.
You've got to literally.
Take money out of it, love.
Pardon?
Take money out of it. You've got to be passionate about.
Oh yeah, because you wouldn't step into that. I mean, you've either got to be in or you've got to be out. If you see what I mean, you've got to be all guns blazing, because that's probably a bad a bad phrase to use. You've just got to be all in. You can't be a policeman and partially not want to be a policeman, if you see what I mean. Because I suppose that's when you get the ones that are like sort of think that they run the world just because they're a policeman, because maybe they are not fully, because they're sort of like power hungry.
Yeah, there are those people, but they are. As I said, and that's what I say. I think a lot of people assume everybody who's a policeman is like that, and I don't think it's the case. British soldiers, because you spoke about soldiers as well, earn a salary of 26 grand nearly, while training. That rises to 31 when they are
fully trained.
I know it did say something about when they're a captain, they can earn 40 grand, something like that. I don't know, because the page is fucking gone. Is that enough? They are, risking their lives, and we know some of them die. They come back with life-changing injuries, and not just that, but the stuff they see.
Oh, definitely. It's scarring.
It's unbelievable.
The stuff that they see is scarring.
They're on 31 grand a year, and MPs on 74 grand a year again. Is that fair? Probably not. Same person would say no. Should an MP...
They sit in a room and shout at each other while they're out seeing their mate be blown
and
to
ultimately
bits.
choose when these British soldiers have to risk their lives, in sometimes completely and utterly meaningless wars.
Okay, so just to finish off the podcast, what I actually want to talk about is the minimum wage for people like my age. So we're both 17. If we were to work, we would be earning, or I earn on my Sunday job, £4.05, right? Just for an example, I think that's obscenely low, I'm not going to lie. When I work for a builder, I get £5 an hour, which I think is, when you're 17, is merely... I think that's acceptable to earn £5 an hour. Then to come out with £50 at the end of the day to show for it, which isn't too bad when you're 17. I mean, any money at this age, I'm sort of happy with. If I,
just answer the question, Lyle.
And
I think
one
you just
thing
answered
I
your
would
question
say,
there.
What did I say?
That any money you're happy with. People our age, we don't have houses to support. We don't have families to support. We don't have kids to support. I don't think personally, and I'll let you continue your point in a minute. I don't think it's ridiculously low. You can't expect to be firms wouldn't be able to hire people. They've only got so much money. Isn't infinite. I feel like people our age seem to think money just grows on trees sometimes. You know what I mean? They can't give kids £10 now. They can't give them £7. It's just not gonna work. Do you know what I mean?
I see what you mean.
If you think back in the day, we weren't born, but our sort of parents, they wouldn't have earned a lot of money. Some of them would have had to have worked and would have earned nothing all day, but would have been expected to work.
Yeah,
I think there's a little bit of snobbery with our thing, and it's understandable. I do get what you mean. It probably is frustrating I don't have a job, for God's sake, so I can't really talk. But one of the reasons why I don't have a job is because it does piss me off the thought of working all day and only earning like £30. It is annoying, but that is what it's like at this age. And if you want to have a job and if you want to earn money, that's what you got to do. And I do earn money, but I just don't have an official job type thing. So I'm saying, but yeah, go on, continue.
And just to say, I was loading some like little stones, like biggish stones that they could put in their garden. I loaded 10 of them up. He just had heart surgery or whatever. So I loaded them up and then wheeled his trolley down to the tills. He paid for them, obviously. Then I wheeled it to his car, put them in the car. He gave me £2 as a tip, and then you think that's half of my wage in just a tip of £2 in an hour. I 100% see where you're coming from, saying that people our age obviously aren't in very challenging jobs, so therefore why would... Well, once I'm 18, it goes up to £5.50. So
I think it's reasonable for the age we are. At the end of the day, I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's been ridiculously low. It's not massively taxing work. And it's still your choice, and you don't have to support a family. Yeah, in an ideal, I think everyone would like to be paid more. I don't think anyone's like, oh yeah, I don't want to be paid more. You've got a 50% salary increase. Oh no, I'm fine, thanks. I'm not going to take it. Do you know? Everyone wants to be paid more. In an ideal world, everyone would earn £100 a second, but it's just not realistic. You've got to be realistic. If you put, and this is what happens, put the minimum wage up, say, I don't know, £6 18-year-old for your sort of age group. These firms aren't going to be able to hire you, so there's going to be no jobs. So you're not going to be able to get a job. So that's why they hire you,
to get some cheap labour.
That's the problem. If you put, and it's like with adults, you can put the minimum wage up to whatever you want. it can be £100 an hour. There won't be any jobs, so it defeats the object. You know what I mean? It's about getting that right balance. And what you'll find, there are some good jobs out there for kids where you know, people our age that earn sort of £6. It's just getting the right job. It's, you know, if you do restaurant work, getting tips, doing well, you know, and getting in, and then, you know, if you stay there a couple of years, they might say when you're 18, right, well, we want to give you a proper job now, and we'll pay you a proper minimum wage. That's what it's all about. It's about getting experience, getting a bit of money in the kitty. And yeah, I mean, it probably is disheartening. I don't dispute the fact it's disheartening probably when you work a whole day and earn 30 quid. But it's 30 quid, you're there, you're getting the experience, and, you know, you've got there so that in the future, even if you leave there, you know, they don't offer you a job, you've got somewhere where you can go, well, I worked here for 2 years. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. You know, and as I say, everyone wants to earn £1 million. It's not realistic. As I say, you can put the minimum wage up to whatever you want. It just means little businesses won't be able to hire people your age because they won't have enough money. So, because you know, these little businesses only have a certain amount of money. It's not like the government's paying for it. You know, you work in a garden centre, do you? You know, I know it's a relatively big garden centre, but they can only pay what they can pay. You know, if you're saying, right, let's put minimum wage, I'm not saying you're saying this, but let's just say someone said, let's put minimum wage up for 16, 17-year-olds to £7. You'd have these garden centres saying, well, sorry, we can't hire you because we cannot afford to pay you that wage.
I do think it sort of comes off of just for seeing like what other people are on compared to what you're on, but as then you need to see they're much older than you. They're in probably a harder job than you are, because let's face it, all I do is bloody have a radio on me. If there's a call for compost, I get the right compost, sling it in a trolley, wait for them to come round and load it into their car, as well as, you know, pricing some plants up. It's not rocket science, so therefore surely it doesn't reap the rewards of earning a lot of money, if you see what I mean. Well, and I've only got 6 months to wait until I'm 18 while I earn $5.50 anyway.
Yeah, and a lot of these people obviously worked all their lives, so obviously they've got more experience, they deserve to earn a little bit. And they've got to support families, they've got to support houses, they've got to pay a mortgage, pay rent, whatever. You know, I just think, I think you've got to look at it like that. It's the only way to do it.
And I definitely would have. Go on. I definitely, as well, I do enjoy spending money on. I bought shoes, you know. I got a little blooming card now. I tell you, that contactless bloody hell, you can spend your whole life away with that.
No, that scares me.
One little boop and you're fucking hell. Under 30 quid, but still, you do that quite a lot in a day. You know, it's not like you're sticking your card in and putting your pin in. It's so easy now. They're making payments so easy. They want me to spend my life away.
One thing I do want to bring up, kind of in relation to jobs, you know, a bit going back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, these firefighters and that, earning what we say £22,000 a year, and there's people sitting on their arse at home who earn £25,000 a year. I don't know what the benefits thing is in this country, sitting on their arse doing nothing, and they earn 25 grand. You know, how is that fair?
That is a point, isn't it? Are those the type of people that, like, they're on benefits, but as long as the government can see them applying for jobs, you know, they continue to earn the benefits, and then they can go to the interview or the first day of the job, say they don't like it, and then continue sitting on their ass. But as long as they apply for so many jobs a year, are they all right? Yeah,
well, believe it or not, that ain't even how it works. You don't even have to look for a job.
You don't have to look for a job. You can just sit on your ass.
Yeah. Fuck. That is why the welfare system is fucked up. When you have a system that encourages people not to get off their arse, not to do any work, the system is wrong. You know, and a lot of them are fat people. And the thing is, a lot of them are fat people, you know, but there's no reason why they can't work. And the majority of fat people are fat because they ate too much, because they don't eat too much. Let's be honest here. I don't have a massive problem with fat people. I don't look at a fat person and think, oh, I hate you because you're fat. But you're fat because you're fat and because you made yourself fat, because you ate too much, because you don't exercise enough. And I'm sorry, but if you're one of these people that needs to be lifted by a crane, you know, can't get out of bed, you're bedbound, I can understand how you can't work. But you've got yourself into that unbelievable state that, in my opinion, you don't deserve to be on bloody benefits anyway, because you're the stupid idiot who ate yourself to be bedbound. But there are so many people that are on benefits who can easily work and don't work. The majority of people can work.
Yeah.
There is a job for everyone, I say. You know, tell me what you would have. You know, there are people with no arms and they do jobs. There are, if you can't do a lot of physical stuff, work in a call centre. All you have to do is pick up the phone. It's not physically, you know what I mean though.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have got some serious disability, and there are these people with disabilities, or you've got a child who has a disability and you've got to support them, you've got to care for them, that's where the money should be going. The problem we have, because we've got to pay for so many lazy fucks, and we've got to pay for so many foreign immigrants who are sometimes entitled because they've got kids, which is crazy to me. You shouldn't be entitled at all. If you're from a foreign country, end of story, because it wouldn't be if we went to their countries. Let's be sure about that. It should be going to those people that genuinely need it, but their benefits are being cut so that we can actually pay for lazy fucks who won't get off their arse. And you see these houses of people on benefits, 50-inch tellies, Blu-ray DVD players, the kids have got 2 PlayStations. It's just a joke. 26 grand, I think it is, what they earn a year.
So you're telling me they earn more than some...
I am telling you they earn more than the average of firefighter earns. Yes, I am.
Fucking ridiculous. That's pissing me off.
Can somebody tell me how that is right? And this is why, ever since I realised this about the welfare system, which I have to tell you, because you probably know, so I've been going on about it for a long, long time, probably since I was 13, 14, I cannot stand it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. It encourages people to be lazy fucks. And look, you can't, in some respects, I have to say, and I do blame them, but you can't blame these people.
It's too easy, isn't it?
It's too damn... I do blame them because I think you seriously are an idiot. You don't even want to get that personal gratification of getting a job. You are basically just being a big kid. And you have people who sponge off it, who claim when they shouldn't be. I know people who have a disability but don't have a disability, who have a disability and then go and do this, that and everything that, for example, I know it's a specific field, I'm not going to say any names, but there are people I know who have a disability who says they cannot work because of, say, their legs, say their back, and they are going on, days out to here, there and everywhere, not amusement parks, theme parks, roller coasters, this and that. Oh, you laugh, Lyle, but it is funny. For the people that work their arse off, year in, year out, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, just to be able to put food on the table.
I was going to say.
And then there's fucks like that are claiming they've got a thing, that are being lazy little twats, quite simply, and have more money, can go on this and that holiday, can go on that. It's simply not fucking fair.
The people that work decade after decade after decade, I'm not sure. Does it affect the people on the how much they get for their pension? By people do it. I don't know how much you get for a pension.
Well, pensions are very confusing. It depends what company you're in, whether they contribute, whether you choose to. Pensions are a nightmare.
So it's not going to be very easy to compare it to somebody that has 26 grand for doing nothing, for them to then either have more or less on their pension.
It comes from these countries. Our country's too nice. If you didn't pay these people that are lazy, fucks, I know what would happen. They'd get a job, or they'd be homeless, and they don't want to be homeless, so they would get off their arse and get a job. But this country's too nice. Oh, we can't do that. Oh, poor them, What if they are homeless? Oh, they've got kids, they've got this. Well, they will have to take responsibility, and they will have to get a job. And if they don't, they're homeless, and the kids will be taken into care. It's as simple as that. Why is this country so nice and fluffy about everything? Never used to be. It's got beyond a joke. It really, really has. And the more, when you let people into the country who then claim off the benefit state and who use your public services, it's no wonder this country is overrun. They haven't got a problem with immigrants that come in, work hard, pay taxes, do that. Some of the greatest people, some really nice people, and they benefit the country. If you are coming into this country from another country, you should be benefiting the country. You should be giving the country a service that it requires, if you see what I'm saying, right? There are people, and I don't understand the logic. This is the left's logic for you. Oh, there's a housing crisis. We don't have enough houses in this country, right?
Yeah.
I agree. There aren't enough houses, right? But then they seem to just completely forget the point that one of the reasons there's not enough houses is because we keep letting in 300,000 people a year from other countries, to then need houses. That's why there's a housing crisis. You know, it's just... And the problem you have is, even if you build the goddamn houses, I always think when they're building all these new houses to house these people, you know, these 300 extra thousand that we import import is not the right word, that claims that there's some sort of produce that come into the country. I didn't mean it like that. Where are the schools? Where are the doctors? No wonder nobody can get an appointment at a GP. It's just a joke. You ring up the doctors for a doctor's appointment. You've got to wait 4 weeks.
So yeah, you're bringing in all of these people, and
but the left moan about all that. But then when you say, well, yeah, you do realise why a lot of that's happening because we're letting in 300,000 extra people every year. Oh no, that's racist. You're xenophobic. It's simple fucking maths, right? If you build a village, right? Let's say we're building an island, right?
Yeah.
We have 20 houses in it.
Okay.
We have a doctor's surgery fit for 20 people. We have a school fit for, the amount of people that are there, right? And every year, we bring in another 10 people.
But we don't.
Right? And then people sit there and go, oh, it's nothing to do with those 10 people that we keep coming in every year into an island that's built for 20. It's got nothing to do with them. It's because the government's not giving everyone enough money. It doesn't make any sense. The left don't have a brain. They're brain dead. They're virtue signalling retards. And if they are genuinely stupid enough not to realise that concept, then they are either thick or virtue signalling. It's as simple as that. And these people should go back to primary school. Well, actually, they can't go back to primary school because there aren't enough spaces.
So you'd recommend them to, I don't know, say they are going to bring in 300,000 people, but then, they've got to build the bloody houses to cope with them 300,000 people, all of the extra services that they're going to need.
There's not enough money. There's not enough space. If these people are coming in and they're not going to work, or they're going to do what a lot of them do, and I say this because it happens, they come in, they get a job, right?
Yeah.
Get a house, work their arse off, work unbelievable hours, right? Work a hell of a lot harder than British people will work. You got to say that, and I'll tell you why. Because their family's in a different country, they don't really have a life. I don't mean that in an offensive way, but British people have a life. They have kids to go home. They can't work 7 days a week, 15 hours. You know what I mean? They can't do it because they've got a life, and rightfully so. But they'll work that, and then they'll send all their money out the country, back to their country, back to their family in their country. British people can't compete with that. So you're saying build the houses for them. They're not actually contributing. They send all the money back. They're not, and it's not just a case of taxes. People go, well, they're still paying their taxes. But, if you earn a 30 grand salary, right, that's spent, right? Your mum and dad, whatever they earn, they spend it. They spend it on food, so it goes into Tesco's and it pays them workers. That's how it works. You see what I'm saying? But it's not happening because they're on 24 grand. They're paying their taxes. Great, that's brilliant. Thank you for that. But the 24 grand ain't going there. They're living off Tesco meal deals. A lot of them do. They live in the back of vans. Some of them awful conditions. I don't understand why they do it. It's crazy. And they send all that money back. So that 20 grand that they send back to Poland or wherever, it's not going to go back into this country. It's just crazy. You've got to put your own people first. So, and I'm not saying put British people first. And not just put British people first, put the immigrants that are coming here, are working in the NHS, doing a great job for this country, come over here, paying their taxes, building a family, being, buying into the British values. It's not fair on them, love.
No.
It ain't fair on them. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it's hindering them. It's hindering where they live because they ain't got enough schools. Their kids aren't. It's not fair. I believe in a immigration policy where it is basically, and this is the way this is described, and it was UKIP's policy in the manifesto, and I didn't support UKIP in the election. It was the Tories, and there was a lot of stuff I didn't like in the Tory manifesto. I like this policy in the UKIP manifesto: 1 in, 1 out. Now it doesn't sound good. Right? It sounds terrible. I wish they worded it a little bit different. But it is a net migration of 0, right? Mm-hmm. So basically every year, and I don't know officially, don't take these statistics exactly, but it is around this, right? 250,000 people leave the country, right?
Yeah.
Say 600,000 come in. So obviously the net there is 350,000. So 350,000 more are coming in, right? Mm-hmm. What it should be is, quite simply, and some would argue it shouldn't even be 0. We should go back and say we need to make it so it's less so we can start being able to catch up on the housing and stuff like that. But I would say if 250,000 are leaving, you shouldn't let in any more than 250,000. Do you know what I mean? And it should be people that are benefiting the country, that are coming in here with a qualification. It's like it is in Australia. To go into Australia, you have to be offering something to the country. Why is that such an absurd thing for Liberals to understand? I don't get it. You know, and obviously, God forbid, you know, there was a massive crisis in the NHS and you needed new staff. Just because this policy, you know, says, you know, you got up to 250,000, go, sorry, no more, because we've, you know, there's only been 250,000 that have left here, so we can't. Of course, you'd say no if there's shortages. Yeah, of course we can let them in. But why do we not? People talk about, you know, NHS. Why don't we train our own doctors? Why aren't we training British doctors? You know, why aren't we training more of those to do jobs like this? You know, so that we don't have to get people from, you know, wherever, you know, and you know, people come from all across the world. It's not just Europe. Usually, if they're coming from India or they're coming from Australia, something like that, they are benefiting the country. But you have to have a points-based system where people are benefiting the country. You know, you have some of the best people in the world. We want some of the best people in the world, best nurses in the world from here, there, from other countries. We want them coming to our country. That's great because they're benefiting the country. Yeah. You know, they're not going to come in. They're not going to cream off the benefit system. They're not going to commit crime. And factually, immigrants commit more crime percentagely than British people. And it's bad for the immigrants that don't. There are great immigrants that come in and migrants that come in that work hard, and it's not fair on them. If you commit a violent crime in this country, and you are an immigrant or a migrant, you're not allowed in. Bye-bye. Do you know what I mean? I wish we could do it with British people, right? I wish we could deport our British murderers. We can't, unfortunately, because this is against human rights, right? We can't just, you know, deport them into the sea. We can't do it. But when you're coming into another country, you've got to, you know, if you were to move to another country, you would abide by their laws. Otherwise, you're going to get kicked out. It comes back to that thing I was speaking about a minute ago. This country is too friggin' nice. It's full of wet farts. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. That's my little rant over. I haven't had a rant about that in quite a long time. I don't know if you want to add anything, Lyle.
No, I think what you said there is good. You know,
I just want to state one point. As I say, I don't have a problem with immigrants. Don't have a problem with immigration. The principle, if it is controlled, if you have a policy, as I say, where these people are benefiting, great. It works fantastically. Develops the country, makes the country so much better. And I know immigrants that are fantastic, but some of the nicest people in the world. I'm not tarnishing them all, as I said, and I said it very, very clearly, and I always want to say it clearly so people don't get the wrong idea. There are some fantastically hard-working immigrants that benefit this country and quite simply are a shining light to this country. And, you know, it's not fair on them. It's not fair on them that the country's not doing well and there's not enough houses for them, there's not enough schools for them, there's not enough services for them. Do you know what I mean? It's not fair.
The people that then aren't benefiting the country, they then put like a whole downer on the old immigrants, do you think? Because there's more people that aren't benefiting the country.
But it's our own fault. Because we let the people in that we know aren't going to benefit the country. And a lot of it is because we're in the EU and we don't have a choice. And it's not just the immigrants. It's the people on the welfare. It's the people earning the benefits that shouldn't, you know. It's all of it. It's not just blame the immigrants, blame the foreigners. You know, and we spoke about the welfare state, and we spoke about, you know, the people earning, they're sitting on their arse doing nothing. They're as much to blame as anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, they are as much to blame. Just because you are born in this country doesn't mean you are entitled to money from the government. Sorry, that's not how it works. You know, you should be entitled to the services and this and that if you're willing to work, if you're willing to pay your taxes, you know? Yeah. Crazy to me, really is. Okay, then, guys, so we have finished what I think will probably be like the biggest podcast, longest podcast we have done. There's a lot to edit out, to be fair, but I think it'll probably be one of the long ones. It's been a big one. We've spoken about football, we've spoken about the money in the game, we've spoken about jobs and the money in that. We've then gone on to immigrants, immigration, we've gone on to the welfare state. There isn't a lot that we haven't spoken, and we even had another thing to do in this episode. We're not going to do it. We're going to save your ears, your brain, well, and your time, really. We're going to leave that to next episode. And just to let you know what it is going to be next episode, a little idea I had. I saw it on a video on YouTube. Basically, where you go through a topic and you basically give your opinion on it. So it's going to be lots of controversial topics. For example, just a little hint of the stuff we've got down. I've got hippies, feminists, Theresa May, Adolf Hitler, God, the death penalty. You get the point. You then say your opinion on it. Me and Lara are going to be doing that. You can get involved down in the comments below. That'll be a special next episode. There'll probably be other segments as well. We'll be doing the comments review as well. If you have enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. Follow me and Lara on all our social medias. And it is all but over. The People's Podcast, episode 8, is done and in the bag. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your comments in advance, and we'll be sure to respond to them all down in the comments below. The support in the series has been immense, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day. And if you did listen to up until this point, what a person you are. We appreciate it massively. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.